Oh, I didn't even check my camera. Hey, I don't know if I'm like nicely visible, but hello, welcome to Goodbye Cruel World, our sort of post-mortem for Cruel World. Um, I'm here with John, and I think Mayor's going to show up shortly. And
Yeah, I
let's
think
just
just doing with sushi by the sounds of things.
yeah, and then let's have a good clean stream. Let's have some fun.
That's the
Just to
general plan.
just to kind of start things out, if anyone has any questions, anything you wanted to talk about, just you can leave your questions here or thoughts or whatever you've got.
Your OBS
Oh,
is flashing. I don't know
yeah,
why.
that's quite weird. And also, Mayor left the call, so hopefully she comes back. I'll leave it as it is. It's a little bit messed up, but that's fine. Hi,
Um,
Gregorio D'Angelo. How do you say
no, hang on. This might
D'Angelo?
be a
Is there
problem.
a? mm, Excuse me. So like, who's all here? In chat, are you people who've mostly played the game, or have you not played the game yet and you're hoping to catch a glimpse? Oh, John left too. Now I'm all alone. Well, I'm not all alone. There's people in chat. Oh, it is flickering. Yeah, that's a funny flicker. I don't like it. Everyone left me. I played yesterday, but not today. Oh man, yeah, I guess things have really changed. Ooh, everyone's in now.
There we go. I think we're working.
All right.
We disappeared into subspace.
So I'm just jumping around. I'm trying to get to some of the secret new levels.
Oh,
Hey Jack, when you
I'm
played
here
yesterday.
finally.
Oh hey, blatant.
cool.
I like your invented
Ooh.
term there. Ah, oh. Jack, when you played, how many owners were there around? Was it like you couldn't get anywhere, or was it okay? And I guess I guess I should introduce the game a little bit, just in case we've got people who don't really know what's going on, just to get an idea.
Having massive Discord issues.
Yeah, it should be cool. That I think.
What is there an issue right now?
No.
Oh yeah, everything's flickering. Like I can see it on my end. I'm just gonna try not hover. What is happening? I've never seen this before.
Yeah, it's flickering. It's my fault. Did I break something?
No. There's no way it's your fault. Like my game is flickering. Don't worry about it, you guys. Just I think it's when I'm moving my mouse around. It's kind of weird. Yeah, so Jack's saying that there were 3 to 6 owners everywhere, sometimes up to 9 or 6 or 9 or 10. So this is first post, and the number of my God. Uh, so the way Cruel World works is you're this little jumping character, and these terminals do stuff that you want, and you can hack them. So I can type in hack 100, and it starts this little hacking mini game. And oh, we lost John. To start this little hacking mini game, uh, yeah, I guess people, I guess existing owners who of the game who hadn't played it are just getting to it now. Yeah, shoutouts. I agree. Shoutouts to Sylvie
It
for beating the bonus levels within like 5 picoseconds. Sylvie bought 3 copies of the game so she could play three copies of the game at the same time, so she could do all the bonus levels before anyone else, which I approve
that's
of.
amazing.
Yeah,
I
and
like. I don't know who said about the karma about playing the game again and finding themselves in the owner
oh,
list. So it felt like karma. I love that.
it was Zepcap. Oh, Jack, you actually played super early. Yeah, so here's Jack in the chat. Is Jack Kudalek is this Jack K. And oh geez, right, I'm gonna step away from this. I don't want it. And so for each person on this list, I see daffodils here too. For each person on this list, uh, wow, sorry, just every time I see this, I'm overwhelmed at the how much it's grown. Every time you
It's
hack them,
amazing.
yeah, every time you mine, it adds your name to this list, and for every person on this list, it takes longer to hack. And so you can see a lot of people went through a lot to just get access to whatever's in this. It says this post says move with left and right, roll, and then it doesn't give any more tips than that. So I actually made a secret hack for read.
I love that everyone is mining, owning the tutorial, because it's just evil. It doesn't.
Yeah.
It's not useful. It's not like a save point. It's just pure evilness.
37 owners. Jeez.
Oh my god. Is Sean back?
Quietly resting with connection issues. I'm lurking, but I don't dare do anything, so I'll just crash again.
You're not causing my
Maybe
stream to crash. It's not your fault. Polly Sifredi, hello, and also Kai Clav. I want to say clavier, like French. The only thing I mind was the tower rooftop door. Yeah, I feel like with everyone who says I'm not gonna mine anything, there's just always a tipping point where you end up mining like one thing and you think, oh, it'll be just one thing, it'll be okay.
Yeah, that happened to me actually. Like when I first played the beta, I mined everything, every single one of of the terminals, and John hated me then. So I learned about my mistakes.
Yeah, Jack is saying that he had a similar experience. He, mined the first tutorial, just testing out the verbs of the game, and I think that there's definitely like an innocent sort of approach where you're just trying things out and don't realize that these particular actions have those particular consequences.
Yeah, but it's also like an inner struggle, because you don't want because you don't want to make life harder to other players, but also you want to leave a mark. You want other players to see your name and that they know how far you reached. So it's like it's a struggle.
Yeah, like the human desire to leave a mark, to be remembered.
Yeah.
I definitely feel I had an issue with the fact that I completely underestimate how many people would be mining for any reason, because it's so mechanically thin. Like, there's lots of doors and level design you can use to make it have a bit of friction, but generally there was no reason to be doing it. But I knew that once it started happening, it'd be an armor face. So it was just, it was so funny to find and there was enough friction in that alone to just cause this complete chaos spiral.
I don't want to say I told you so, but I told you so.
You did. And it was so funny because it was that morning of, I was still like, just nerf hacking a bit so you have an incentive to mine. It's like, no, you didn't need that at all. Wasn't there. I think, yeah.
It's in human nature.
I know, and especially with the graffiti side of it, I completely get it. Like, let's make dents on this world, but I didn't think it would be that pervasive.
I hadn't related that to graffiti, but it actually is a lot like graffiti. Yeah, like you're messing around something, you're making it dirtier, but also, yeah, you want to leave a mark. So yeah, it's really alike.
Yeah, I like the comparison to graffiti too. Yeah.
Yeah, mostly that graffitis that are like just a signature. But they are in weird places, like very high on buildings and things like that. They are not actually artistic. They are just like a mark to say, I was here.
So it's basically kissing the crown all over this tagging culture. I think my favorite thing about this game and the 24 hours that came out of it is it's been like 15 different things though.
Like the game,
Like-
yeah.
Yeah, like the whole initial phase and like the peak yesterday with the exhibition with Verve was kind of like a whole first act. Then like this whole second day has been like feeling like it's just dying quietly in the background with like a brief resurgence afterwards.
Yeah, it's really
been a
gone
very
through
nice
like
feeling.
many arcs, like of like there was like the initial. It started out with like this. It felt like a frontier where anything was possible, and this was like when Burv became an icon, and Mike Cook was yelling him out on Twitter for his selfish act of being one of the first people I think on one of the early tutorial texts, and I mean now you look and there's like 30 people and. It seems silly to single out Burv because he's, just one of a massive ocean of people who is in the way of everything.
Yeah, I feel like. Sorry, no, go you go.
We can't both over polite this, isn't it? You go.
Should I moderate? I guess I should. Mer, you go.
Okay. It reminded me a lot to Twitch Plays Pokemon, where it was like just a game and it was a quite simple one, but it had all this lore behind it, just created by the community, and people started like inventing things all around Twitter and Twitch, and this one felt like a small portion of that. But just in one day, like all the Verve arc and the people understanding their mistakes and talking about karma one day later. Yeah, it feels a lot like that.
Yeah, I think
the power of the community to create a narrative.
It really goes with really some of my thoughts about like the digital space makers thing and virtual spaces. Like, I don't know, for a long time I wanted to make mini MMOs. Like I like the stories that come out of games like EVE Online and stuff like that, where it's like huge numbers of like real people kind of conspire to make this like big event occur. And so like literally for a year, 2 years, I was trying to just make a massive like a coexistence space. And this game was really, really fun and what's like a good word that I'm looking for? Like gratifying to make, because it kind of showed me that you can get that feeling without actually making an entire simulated shared world, which is good. I'd like to do more like this and have more of these stories, these full arcs.
Yeah, I think it's been interesting to me to learn like how much this thing has felt like it's had a community around it, but there hasn't really been a space for the community. It's been really amorphous, and that's partly because of the mechanics the game facilitates, but it's also just been like the way people are coming to it and like the bursts of like new groups coming into it. It's been pretty interesting.
Wait, is this actually Pendleton Ward in the chat here?
I was trying to not freak out about that, so
I just want to say.
Do you think?
it can't legit be, surely.
Why not? People like. I went to. There was an event. There was an event in Toronto I went to where they were airing, where they were showing like a little bit of a clip from. I'm pretty sure I have this right. It was a clip from Adventure Time, but the sound wasn't working. So Pendleton Ward was there, and he did all the sounds with his mouth, just all of them, and it was really, really. It was great. It was like the best. That's it. That's all I have to say. Anyway,
that sounds like it was absolutely better than having the original sound.
Anyway, Pendleton Ward in chat said whether you are the real Pendleton Ward or not, I enjoyed waiting. I mined everything to make it more fun for everyone. And I think that like my friend Siegfried was saying that the waiting is actually pretty chill. Like you can just kind of take a break and read a book while you're waiting to hack things. And I think that's kind of
chill.
That's a really
nice I was
idea.
checking.
Sylvie, it actually means you're just going to run 4 screens at once, so you never have to wait.
Pendleton Ward says that it was a long time ago, and he sort of remembers that. So he maybe is. I don't know. This is a mystery.
Let's see. So this one is just the first one that I happened to reach was John's bonus DLC levels here. So I'm gonna cheat. I'm gonna do my cheat, and I'll get us through. And I guess I'll ask you some questions, John, about how you feel about this whole thing.
Can do.
Oh no. Oh jeez. Okay, fine.
But yeah, I was kind of feeling the same way about, just going back to the earlier point, the whole first act where Mike started calling out Burb and all that stuff. That kind of felt like a moment of original sin. Whereas, like, since then, once everything started to go into decay, it's just kind of changed the way the system's all playing out. And I find that really interesting. Like, yeah, waiting is just part of the game, and that's kind of become a chill thing you can do. And yeah, like the fact that when we put the DLC levels in and we're like, okay, well, at least people know now if they don't do any mining, it will be fine. It will be a stable system. People can just get in for free and it'll be cheap. And immediately it's like, no, Sylvie's going to speedrun everything, so she's going to mine everything because that's the way Sylvie's going to min-max it. So you're all screwed, and it's going to snowball from there. There'll always be dust in the ointment.
John, I think I've always I realized, like, shortly into our friendship that you are kind of like a hopeless optimist, and meanwhile I'm like horribly I mean, I like to say realistic, but like terribly pessimistic here. But I was like, it's you're saying, oh, maybe people will have learned, and I'm like, there's no chance. It's all going to
No.
Everything is going to degrade just like everything else.
Yeah, I agree with that. I just know you for a month, and I already think that too. Yeah, I was talking to.
Be cynical, jeez.
No, don't be cynical. Oh, Jesus.
No, it's okay. You can be our ray of sunshine and happiness while we are all depressed.
Whoopsie.
I was talking to Okurun, that's in the chat, I think, that he made the fan art, and he was telling me about the music, about how it's weird at the first time that the game doesn't have any music, but then you realize that it's super cool because you can have it on the background and do other stuff while you're hacking. And I actually did that. Like, I was watching a video and I was like pausing it and hacking and then going back.
It's kind of weird. Like, I guess I have experimented a little bit with kind of systems that you wait for. Like, I got really inspired briefly by the flower breeding in Animal Crossing. So I made like a quicker simulation, but you still kind of sit and wait as the flowers propagate and grow. And so I've been thinking about like just these like passive time spaces in games where you're just hanging out and watching some stuff happen. And I've never I didn't think of this as like a mashup of like a masocore platformer and an idle game, but it kind of is, and it works, which is weird.
It really is kind of like cookie clicker vibes.
Yeah, going back this afternoon to play through the DLCs, I was having similar thoughts. I was thinking it was doubly ironic with the fact that, like, the earlier discussions from last month about gardens, like, suddenly this game had started to morph into being a garden space, like, in the background. It was just kind of very weird, kind of ironic shift of a design that we were orbiting around anyway, coming out through a completely different system we weren't even looking at.
It's really bizarre. Oh, man. It didn't even occur to me until like just now, like we're talking about it, like people saying like, oh, I actually kind of like it. It's weird. Like I me pessimist, whatever, cynical. I expected this to feel like the world is dying, but it really just evolved into a different game where you just have to wait more.
Yeah, but I think when you have something on your mind, it just pops out. Either you want it or not. So maybe the garden idea was already there. Also, this is kind of platonic too, because everyone's making their own narratives and creating their own ideas. Like what Fran told me like today, like, oh no, I hacked with 99 strength, and now I feel so guilty because I will be such a difficult boss to everyone else. And I was like, no, it doesn't work like that. But he was feeling so bad.
Yeah, it's excuse me. That's definitely it's really interesting because I don't know what to say to someone who has this idea of how the system works. It's not like I'm misleading people. It's just the system doesn't. I don't even know what the right word for it is, but yeah, like, do you tell them like, no, you're wrong, or do you let them believe?
I told him that he was wrong because he was feeling really bad about it, and I felt I'm cynical and I'm pessimist, but I'm also a good person, and I don't want people to suffer.
I think there's an interesting thing with like the openness of the space, where like I'm somebody who really likes to discover systems and like know how they work, but only when they have a functional process. These systems, in particular, they're fuzzy, and they're fuzzy in a way that just leaves everything feeling open. That you don't really need to understand these systems in detail, and by leaving them fuzzy, they make the space feel larger.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like, yeah, leaving that open as a platonic space is interesting to me.
I think that, yeah, I leaned into that, like with the way hacking works. I just kind of had fun. I made like a lot of weird wrinkles to the system. Like if you get knocked down below a certain amount of health, you'll drink a potion. And it was just fun adding these little systems that I didn't have to worry about being interactive or meaningful in any way, just stuff that kind of flowed naturally, that I was like, this is, someone's going to feel something about this. Like it just paints like a slightly different picture of what is unfolding. Oh, there's so many people in the chat now. Hey, Stephen and David.
Yeah.
And Raspberry Rock Off-Grid.
Yeah, there are.
Can you talk about
There are a lot of friends.
I know your real name though. It's Russell. Hey, Russell. Let's see. Make public. All right. So I can talk about kissing. So you can kiss in the notes. Oh well, I guess I can't talk about kissing now. Oh man, I've done this before, like reliably, but I think I got worse. You can kiss everything. So this is you kiss your current checkpoint. It will revive you when you die. And Mer, we talked a little bit about like you wanted to do some more text for the terminals. I just didn't end up putting it in time. But kiss is in, and if you kiss different things, Daniel, I know you're Quasi-Otter, the one who asks for kissing all the time.
Oh, hi Quasi-Otter.
My thing is, would there be as much kissing in Jockey games if it wasn't for Quasi-Otter? That's the chicken and egg scenario I don't get.
There would be none.
Fair enough.
But it hasn't.
I wanted more verbs because that was like the first thing I tried. Like I found a terminal. I discovered I could input text, and I was like, okay, win, lose, pseudo something. I tried a lot of words, and I thought it would be really fun if the machine like could answer you to random stuff like give me food. I don't know.
That would be hilarious.
So I'm happy that we have a kiss now.
They're actually I added some secret admin commands that you might have seen me using. I can go make public and unpublic. They will not work for you, but they work for me.
Huh. You have privileges. David is telling what is there to talk about. You kiss a monolith and it tells you the names of its exes. I haven't thought about it like that.
Oh my god. You're right.
It's David, amazing.
That's amazing.
It's amazing.
Wow. John, I don't know if I can get past this. It's so hard.
It's fine. It should be consistent and easy when I was playtesting it. But yeah,
So
I don't know what happened in implementation, but it was a bit harder for me as well.
Where do you stand? Do you stand like here?
You should be able to know, well, anywhere between like where the spike goes fully up was my marker for testing it. But it turns out anywhere between there and like half the block, half tile back should do it.
God damn it.
But again, I can't get it consistent myself now, so
I have to make
I'm just going with it with my consultants.
Unpublished.
So like there should be perfect. Although I'm watching the live stream. I'm watching it on the delayed stream.
Oh, I see. I'm just gonna go to the next level. Otherwise, this stream could go on forever of me just struggling to get through there. Oh, the rooftop. The rooftop up there.
I thought it was really interesting the way John and I approach the level design in very different ways.
Yeah.
Like we were making it together, and they are like super different, and they are both hard. Like his set and mine are both really hard, but it's really different. Like mine are like spaces, like temples or something, and I usually go from one idea. Like I want to have a zigzag, and I want all the level to be a zigzag, and things like that. But he's more like, I want this specific mechanic and this specific jump, and you have to solve this like a puzzle. And everything just revolves around one single difficult jump.
And I think there's like a lot of space for both types of levels. Like I do both, right? Like this is kind of a space, and then if you go to the rooftop, like that one is very just here. I'll cheat myself through. This is like a super mechanical puzzle, I think, similar to like the types of challenges that John is doing.
Yeah, very Celeste.
Because yours end up feeling more like lived-in spaces. Like they have like an inherent like world feel and narrative to them, whereas mine are like, no, this is basically a machine for pain.
This level's still a machine for pain, though. It just hides it a little better. David's like, Mer design, I want this level to have a zigzag. John design, I want this player to have a heart attack.
I can't even deny it.
Yeah, it's true. But I think the best combination was the last one of mine levels, because we did it together with John, and it's amazing, and I love it because it's like two levels that combine each other.
Mm. I think the fun thing that was.
I think I'll get to yours first.
It came out of a. Oh, sorry.
No, you go.
Sorry.
I was just saying the fact that whole level came out of the fact that it was a misunderstanding about how the engine doors work, and then just finding a workaround, and then it was just like, okay, no, this all fell right into place and makes the space feel larger.
Yeah, it's not a bug; it's a feature. That kind of train of thought. Yeah, but it ended up being something really cohesive. Like mechanically, it works really well, I think, and it was like your idea, and I just put some cool text, and it really works.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I think the other thing was like the process of like moving towards that at the end of the day with the level design from the start of like basically being sent a picture by Mer going, hey, I want this doodle, and then throwing that into the engine and then going, okay, no, Mer's actually a genius because this is like near perfect from a sketch, not even like tile laid out yet. Just to stab and approach it, and it will play like a really hard, interesting level. It's like, okay, yeah, this is a good process.
Yeah, that was good. Like I made a simple sketch on Photoshop just to like get some ideas through, and I opened up Pixel Edit to start tiling it, and John was like, hey, do you think this looks okay? And he had already tiled everything. But I did anyway make my own bootleg Draken tiles.
Oh, I need the key. It's so hard getting around in this game. I like hearing about your guys' level design process.
I was going to say, I was going to grab the sketches up for a sec.
Oh yeah, that'd be great. I just wanted, like, I feel like when I design levels, like I don't know how to describe any of it. I just kind of am like, like, I'll just slap some stuff down. And I was I was thinking about how much of this came from my time with N's level editor. Like I don't know if you're familiar with the platformer N, where you're just this little kind of vector ninja. It's made by MetaNet Software. And
Yeah.
I spent so much time making levels for N and posting them to there was like a database or a community. And I learned a lot of lessons. Like someone was asking me, like, am I really good at the game? Like at like platforming? Like, how did I make the rooftop level? Like, how did I make a really hard level? And a lot of what I learned actually from making N levels was not to make things that are like as hard as I can make them and still get away with it, but like to pull back and have a lot more leeway and say like, okay, this isn't the hardest it could possibly be, but it's okay. Like to have multiple paths and different forgivenesses.
The thing is, like, I know in like good practice that is what you should be doing, but in the context of this game, I was like, nah.
I mean, you can also just do it however you want. Like that's how I like to do things now. I think just that's part of my process. But you can find your own process. Don't take mine. Oh, it's unlocked, not open. All right, so I finally unlocked access to, and like I'm not describing this.
Yeah.
I guess I don't mean to canonize this and say like this is the right way to design levels. I guess that's what I really mean by saying like my process, your process. It's you do you.
But yeah, I dropped Mer's initial sketch and the bootleg tile set into chat.
How do I even show that? If
I try to,
it's not gonna
complicated.
work.
You might break it, don't worry.
But we will see Mer's tile set here. I'm just gonna. Should I do hack FF?
Yeah, the final tile set. Yeah.
So there were like, how many owners are there already on this level? Like 10 owners.
Ooh, awesome.
What's awesome? Oh, you're looking at chat.
No, I was looking at the list of owners. They are a lot.
There are a lot.
And yeah, David is saying it's so validating to watch him die as often as I did. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, like I die in my levels. It's not like I'm designing. It's not like I can beat these levels in one go or anything. Like I'm no Sylvie.
Is that you abstaining from the fight? I don't have to beat the levels. I know Sylvie will beat them for me. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying Sylvie is better than me. I'm saying Sylvie is top tier, and I'm like, third tier. I don't know how many tiers there are. I'm like, fine. I'm okay. I can do stuff, but I'm not like I can't do stuff with extreme consistency. Although I did have one really good run in Gross Mountain, so that's my claim to fame.
How much do you iterate on your levels? Like you have an idea and you put it down at once, like on the first try, or you have to go and fix things and I don't know. How is your approach, Dragon?
So for the levels that I did, I connected up the world. So I guess I'll take this level as an example. Let me save so I can be a little more comfortable. Well, I'll start hacking it anyway. How many owners are there here? Are there more or less? Oh, it's not so bad. So when I was designing, I don't think you've seen. I've shown really. I wish I was on the screen, but I'll just use my hands. There's this one screen where there's like a big gold crown door over here or so, and it has like three kind of horizontal chunks. And as you're playing the game, you go across, and then you go up, and you go across, and you go up, and go across. And
yeah, it's like a hub.
Yeah. So I what were you gonna say? It's like.
it's like a hub, like it connects many other areas, but you can go from one to the other.
Yeah, and I knew that I wanted to. It all kind of started with the hub. Like I'd been designing levels, just sketching stuff, and then I was like, there needs to be a sense of sort of forward progress. How can I do that without adding more systems, but instead just use level design? So I made that hub, and it just you keep popping in and out of the hub to give you like a sense of progress towards that final big crown. And once I had the hub designed, I was like, well, now I need levels to actually connect those spaces. So I did this super, super lazy connection thing where I didn't really design levels. I just kind of made sketches. So I I made a couple of levels with like a vague idea. Like there was one which had like a fork, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna make a level where you get a key and you have to choose which door to use it in. Excuse me. And so I just did the bare minimum of connection. So I dumped a key in the room and 2 locked doors. And then I did a second pass where I went through all of those sketch levels and I made like a final level. And I've done this just so many times that it's just kind of like I don't know. I guess I almost do it on autopilot. Like I'm looking at the shape of a level and I'm just thinking, okay, I need a certain type of challenge. So what's something that like I would kind of like to play with, and I'll put some light blocks down, and then I'll test out the level. But once I kind of get a feel for the mechanics, I don't even have to test the level. Oh, I lost the hack. No.
Oh no.
Let me reset my hack here. Once I get a feel for the mechanics, like right here on the screen right now, you're standing at a checkpoint, and I can tell like at a glance that that platform is 3 tiles up. So you can't do like a good short hop to it, but you could do like a rolling jump. So when I'm designing the level, I'm thinking in these kind of, it's hard to put into words, but I'm intuitively just thinking, okay, I'm going to make a big like 4 jump here, or I'll just kind of like lay down some spikes and it'll be kind of hard. And I'm not really thinking exactly about the dynamics of the physics. Like I don't know exactly how things are going to play out, but I'm just kind of thinking about I don't know. I'm thinking about all that once, and then in a lot of cases, I don't really do any more passes. I'll test the level out, and I'll almost always just fall in love with the dynamics that come out of it. Like I'll just play it and I'll think, oh, this is harder than I thought, or this is easier than I thought. But unless it's something that's truly level breaking, I'll just leave it as it is, and I'll just I don't know, yeah.
Just on the process with that, there, knowing that the way you built it was like build out the entire physical sketch of the space through all the levels. Was that practice to make sure that everything felt cohesive, or was it to avoid like breaking that? If that makes sense at all.
You're talking about like
you had
the first part where I'm doing
the first pass where you had the shell.
Yeah, it's because I know I can get. So the second part is a mode I know I can get into really easily, and when I'm in that mode, I'm really not thinking big picture. I'm just thinking, okay, what is literally like this one interesting jump that I'm designing right now? And so I needed the sketch to kind of like hem in my brain, so I can let myself go on autopilot and know that what comes out of it is something that will fit into the whole game.
Yeah, the reason I was asking was just because between me and Mer, by the time we'd finished, all the levels were basically like standalone, and threading them together was a bit of an ask. So I was just interested in that. But it was also because there's loads of point in this game where because of the way the engine works in the back end, making rooms, you could have been doing like really sneaky, naughty stuff to like break physical space and like basically make it like pseudo 4D, where like spaces are existing within the same space if you take the abstraction out.
Oh yeah, I see what you mean. Right, like
you
can make doors go
completely.
To anywhere.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. Yeah.
I didn't try super hard to avoid that. Really, I like doors really just connect wherever they want, and I was just when I was sketching, I was like when you're in the crown room, you are going to the right. So in the levels, I made it sure you go kind of to the right, but I really didn't pay much attention to height or for anything like that. Like there are some levels where you do go up, like when you're going from the bottom floor to the middle floor and the middle floor to the top floor. I think I was like, okay, sure, I'll kind of like think about putting a door up there, just so it kind of feels like you're moving up. But that was just as like beyond that, just like baseline cool. It kind of feels like you're moving in the right direction. I didn't put a lot of thought into the world having like a proper structure.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Can I? Do you think I can? I really want to.
I think you definitely can, but I didn't try it because it took me so long to work out how double jumping worked. So my designs did not account for them at all. Hence the massive skip you can do on the cloud test thing.
Right. I give up.
I just want to say I did say, hey, I could like put a small block there so you can do that jump, and you, Draken, told me no, don't put a block there.
I mean, yeah, personally, I love that there is that. So just to be clear what we're talking about, it's that little like gap that I was trying to get into. I love that this gap is like, it exists, and it's, as far as I can tell, completely useless. It's just such a good tease. It's like, because of the way the mechanics of the game work, it's like, they're very loose. Like you can really get away with a lot of stuff once you know what you're doing. And it just, when like looking at that, I'm just like, I want to know if I can do that. And it's like a little space that makes me want to play with it and discover the boundaries.
Yeah, it's one of those things where this game, once you start getting quite good at it, you can internalize the game feel that you can have a feel for the spaces, and then it's those things right on the edge that really tease. It's like, that looks doable. It really does look doable. You have to try it like 1,000 times to even get it to land once.
I'm usually against that. Like I usually prefer level design where the undoable things are really clear, so you don't mess with the player's time. But in this case, I think that the whole idea was to mess with the players, and so I was fine with tricking them.
Like, it's interesting because I was trying to mess with the player's time with like the idle thing, but like with Siegfried and Pendleton, like just there's really like this kind of interesting idle aesthetic that I guess resonated in a way that I never would have expected. Because I feel like, I don't know, just when I'm playing a game like this, it feels like dying and being reset is the ultimate evil. So I thought, okay, well, like what's worse than that is like not even being able to try and do stuff, but just like there's just time that you have to spend. But I guess it's kind of relaxing, especially in an environment where you're expected to always be performing, right? Like at any moment you might die, but and it'll always be your fault. But having the idle, I don't know if idle's the right word, but having the hacking game where it takes a while, but it's really low stress.
What I think it's that people are forgiving the time that they are spending on idle time because it's the community's fault. It's not like a mobile game where you have to like watch a commercial to get more lives, or you have to wait certain amount of time to play. And that feels like evil. Like that feels like, oh, the system is making me wait. But in this case, it's just other players making you wait. So you kind of forgive them because they are just like you.
Which is not true because it is the system making you wait.
Yeah,
but it's beautiful with
it's also
blame everybody else.
I know that the actual fault is Draken's, but. But it's I know it's nicer to think it's just the community making you wait.
It's the platonic game, right? It's not the truth of the system is like you can blame me. Like I made an evil system. It's a cruel world. It's in the title, but
I think the thing it's definitely surprising me. I don't know how you feel about it, Alex. Though, is the fact that with the 24 hours time limit and everything else, the system felt like, well, it can only take so much threshold, and it's going to basically reach a sort of unplayable point, just in terms of like mortality and life. Like, yeah, if you're patient with it, you could still play it, but it would be there was definitely going to be a tipping point. But with the patience for the idle game itself, it's like, well, actually, no, maybe the space could have just stayed open, and people would have just been happy with being patient around it.
Yeah, like I'm really conflicted about it because I was, I was 100% just convinced. I'm like, the space is going to fall apart. Like I thought it was going to become and feel like a broken world that no one would want to like suffer through. And instead, it's definitely longer. Like you spend more time, and it feels weird, but it's not just like this like objectively worse place. It's just a different place. And now I'm like, well, now what do I do about people who want access? Because I said it will only be available.
Like, as I said, that was my thing as well. I completely felt the exact same way about that was the way things were going to play out. And that's why because my levels didn't have any of that terminal space in at all. I just designed the levels themselves, but that's when yesterday when I was rigging it all up to go in, I started putting all that terminal stuff in just to be like super wholesome, because I was like, actually, that's kind of what the community feedback's shown what this space is like. Like, people are happy to wait, people are just wanting to play the space and be around it. It was kind of like a shift in tone that, like, yeah, that's kind of why I leaned into that aesthetic for writing that goofy dialogue I wrote.
Oh yeah, so I guess to bring it back to like the dialogue and the levels that you two made, Mer, do you want to talk? I mean, both of you, do you want to talk about like the process that went into making like even just this level, like with this series of levels?
The levels or the text of the levels?
I can go to the text too, both of them. I'm gonna cheat though. Oh wait, no, it's
both were a process.
I think my approach was just like John's. Like, my first text was absolutely troll. Like, it tells you something like, "Oh, you climbed all this way from here to find something interesting, but sorry to disappoint." It says something like that, and the next one says like, "I don't know why you still have any hopes about this." And but the next ones were like progressively more wholesome. Like, I made 2 haikus, and the last level is like bilingual, so you have one side of the level that it's really hard. I know it's really hard, it's harder, and it's everything is in Spanish, and when you go to the other side, everything is simpler and the texts are in English, and it's every text is something like, maybe if you look at things from another angle, they will become simpler, and a perspective bring us together, and together we are more comfortable, and things like that. Like, a lot more wholesome. And yeah, it's like the same thing that happened to John, but we didn't actually talk about it, so it's funny.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, it's just kind of been what the space has brought out in both of us. And the other thing I found fascinating and funny about that was also watching Mer realize how much space she had to play with creatively. Like, started with the terminals, but then like this morning was mostly spent like just naming levels and shit.
Oh, naming levels was so fun.
How much space can we fill in here?
Yeah, I really love naming levels. Like, sometimes I got a little bit lazy. Like, there's some just called like -1, -2, -3, but having text is so nice sometimes. Like, it's so freeing because you can write anything and communicate.
Yeah, it feels so powerful. I think that's the haiku one. Yeah. That
Which
level has 2 haikus.
On the left there. Oh, should I go see the haiku? I had it up for a little bit.
You were talking about haikus the other day, so I thought it would be nice.
Yeah, if Jack is here. Hey, Jack, you in the chat? He's the one I was talking to about haiku games, but that is a topic for another stream or something.
Yeah, yeah, we still have that thing pending.
Yeah,
always the 50,000 things.
What's
Oh, always,
cruelty
yeah.
squad? Oh yeah, here's your troll ones, right?
I'm looking at the stream with a little bit of lag, so I don't know.
Ooh,
I think
okay.
the two troll ones are in the zigzag level,
Yeah.
and the two haikus, I think they are in the. No, I don't know. I have one
Yes.
haiku on the level with the holes.
Yeah, you've got one with the pits and one with the wide.
Yeah,
And
that's it.
then
Oh,
although we
I
just
have
put immediately
to.
back to dev names because we can't remember what they were called them by the end.
Just a heads up. I
I
gotta
think it's
go
called
at 9-ish.
Libertango. Sorry.
No, just a heads up. I have to go at 9-ish. It's like 13 minutes from now, so I hope that's all right. I hope I
Yeah.
can make it to Sky Temple in time. But if not, I guess people will just have to. They'll just have to play the game and find Sky Temple on their own. Sorry to interrupt.
And if you can't buy
Yes,
the game, you
Sky
have to solve
Sanctuary.
that puzzle as well.
Yes, just like layers of unnecessary puzzles.
How do you feel about
I-
that checkpoint, by the way? Both of you. I mean, Mer, I think, has come to terms with it, but I don't know what Draken thinks.
About what? Sorry.
The checkpoint and the spikes?
Yeah, the checkpoint of spikes in zigzag.
Is there something wrong with it?
Die and you'll find out.
Yeah. If you save your game there and then you die, weird shit happens, and
If you
it's
don't
really
push your
funny.
way out of it, you just go in a death loop, basically. And it gets worse if it starts trying to spawn you to the left instead of to the right, because it gets harder to get out of it, because the double pit there will cause you to die every time. Because you'll take the damage on the first spike and then on the second. So it's a weird, like...
But I'm not holding... Okay, maybe I have to be going to the right to get into the death loop. Oh, I see. Oh, I see, and you actually have... That's fine. That's right. There's nothing wrong with that.
I say it's worse if you can get the thing to spawn you to go the opposite direction. It gets worse because you can't actually get out of it that way. You have to make the checkpoint flip you back the other way for the spawn. But it's quite difficult to actually make it do it. And I was like, it's fine. But it was funny that it was like a little. It was that point where the wholesomeness was tipping. Like, is this too cruel or is this fine or what?
I mean, I did something much worse in the opening levels that I added to the Sky Temple.
Yeah.
There's a much worse death loop there where you fall off the tower. So, I mean, I'm fine with it because otherwise, what kind of hypocrite would I be? And I think that these levels can kind of go a little bit off the rails, since like I feel like a lot of like they're a little bit off the core path, and most of the people who are playing them like are already familiar with the mechanics. I think like they're a little bit late in the oh my god.
Like, but the other thing I find funny is with the rest of the game and like Drocker's levels are kind of a good balance of them, and then like the two ends of the spectrum is like Mer's are kind of wholesome and fair in design and more about the space and the aesthetic, and mine are more utilitarian. I find it really funny that Mer's kind of end up feeling the hardest because players have been trained to like play towards the other side of the scale. It's like that Mer's end up like doing really weird little. They've been designed so fairly that you like if you play it aggressively or like with any.
Oh, I see. Like if you try to overextend.
Yeah. They just punish you for that, which is I just find that really fascinating. I think I've had more trouble with these levels because of that.
I really actually I think that probably my favorite section in this level is, let's see, is that like piece with all the long spikes over there. Just want to go and celebrate. Oh, I can't even get back there, but I like it because like it feels like there's very clearly two-ish paths. You can roll along those spikes on the floor above me, to be clear. You can like roll along the spike floor, but then even once you've done that, the act of getting over that wall is a little bit tricky. Or you can go over the blocks, but that's tricky in just this totally different way. And it looks like it should be such an obvious solution. If you're coming up from like a regular platformer, it's like, well, you just hop over the spikes. There's a block, and then you go. But it's super awkward, and like the length is all weird. And then if you know what you're doing, you're like, oh, cool, I've seen this before. I can sneak through the spikes. Even that is like very unstraightforward because of that last jump. You really have to do like a ricochet. That's it. That's
I love hearing you guys.
The other thing I find really fascinating, having watched a lot of people play at this point, is the fact that because the control scheme is not necessarily like intuitive, it's not the normal, usual kind of control scheme for a platformer, and because it's quite open-ended in the ways you can play it, watching people play, like, they all have kind of adopted their own little styles. Like,
yeah.
Sylvie keeps going for like long and greedy jumps constantly when she plays, and like, yeah, it's fun watching. Like, it looks like people are skateboarding is the best way I can describe it. Like, everyone just has like their own little quirks to the way they've gotten good at playing it, because it's not conventional and it has so much adaptation in it. Yeah, I find that really fascinating about watching people play this game in particular.
I really, really like that in I don't know, I guess games in general, like with Starseed Pilgrim, right? Like I think of it sometimes as superstition, but it's more than that. Like, it's also expression. But just when people take a system that they've built their own mental model of, and then getting to see that an expression of that mental model, like what do people think is the best solution? Systems that have like a space for that, I really love.
I think other thing that happens with this game is that maybe it's because all the tutorial texts are owned, but many people don't know all the mechanics. So one of my friends got stuck in one place and he couldn't get out of a pit. And I was like, okay, do you know you can roll? And he was like, oh my God, really?
And I think what I really like, I make a lot of games that don't have tutorials and you have to figure stuff out on your own. And I didn't think about this until just now when you were talking about that, but I love that there is a tutorial, but you have a very good reason to skip it. It's not the game saying like figure it out. It's the game saying, here, like, you can, here's the information, and then the player is the one who says, I don't need this, or I don't care. I'm going to figure it out. You get to have like that ownership of choosing not to.
But the problem with that is it's even worse than that, because what it has is systematically all free information in this game has been taken by people immediately and kept from you. That's the worst part about it.
But even
quite literally.
Even early on, people didn't, like, when there were no owners, people did not hack the tutorial things. And I think that interaction is really cool. Like I agree. Like, I think it plays into the system, the systematic loss of information as well. Like, people claim the information and people can't get it. But even early on, I don't know. Like, there's two kind of dynamics at play here, which I like. I like both of them.
Yeah, I used to be one of those players, like not reading any tutorial ever. But then I changed my mind. But yeah, also, but also there are a lot of things that I'm not sure if you have explained them, like the double jump, air jump, whatever, like after the roll. I don't think that's explained in
no, it's
some tutorial text.
There might be.
There's a couple of levels that explicitly teach you have to do it, but otherwise, I don't think it's actually said, is it?
There is some text that says. I think there's some text that says when you're rolling, if you have down. Maybe I just tweeted that at someone. But like, the way it works is when you're rolling, if you have any downward momentum and you're like still spinning, when you're in that state, you can jump once. And so that translates to both the like weird air jump when you're rolling and falling and you can jump, and also the double jump at the peak. Who's at this memorial? We don't have much time. That's quite a number of people. We got David from the chat. We got Stippen from the chat.
I'm a bit late on the. I'm really happy that the last information thing it's called. It takes two to tango because it has two doors.
Oh wait, is there an info thing that I skipped that's it takes two to tango?
Yeah, it's like on the bilingual thing. Every information text, it's called like a traditional rhythm from Argentina, but the last part, it's just after making all the level, it just goes from one door to the other, and the thing in the middle, it's called it takes two to tango.
Why is it called that because it's like alluding to the social aspect of the game? Like, you know what I
A
mean?
little bit, yeah. Yeah, because you interact with others, and the thing of the game is like interacting with other people. But it's also like there's just two doors, and you need two doors to go from one side to the other. So it's really literal, but it's also a bit of a metaphor.
I see. Makes sense. That's cool.
The only thing I wish we'd like had more time for maybe or something was with the mingle player stuff. I wish there was more spaces for player expression, like info boards people could graffiti, and like the parking lot idea, like those two spaces, like having more of those spaces accessible. Like,
Yeah, I'm sad I didn't do the parking lot. Oh no. Well, I don't think we're gonna get to Sky Temple. Crap.
it's fine, not time anyway.
What did you put, John? You had like a Carlomagno and Rolando and etc. reference. Can you talk about that? Because it's like it was like a sudden cultural reference in the middle of the game.
Oh, the thing I put at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of the end terminals from Marathon 2 because I was being nerdy, but it's just the fact that it's mirroring the theme of the actual throne from that place as well. It's doing the impossible because it makes you mighty stuff. That passage just always makes me think of that theme, so that's why I just threw it there because it all overlapped. And it was quite late by that point. It was one more terminal fill in, and I was tired.
Fair enough.
But yeah, it's a very nerdy reference, but specifically, it was just keeping on theme with that whole area being about just doing one last thing and doing it to like see the thing out. And
You've said that quote to me before. We do the impossible because it makes us mighty. When I'm being particularly, again, cynical about the idea of presenting difficult challenges.
Yeah, it's annoying how much I do speak in memes, but yeah.
Me and John.
Aphorisms, to be honest. Yeah. It's a Firefly reference, isn't it? But
is it?
It's become a personal motto for like playing Splunky particularly. It was when it became like an internalization.
I like what Sweet Apple Pie Society. I just wanted to talk about the terminal aesthetic because I feel like it's something that I haven't got to talk about a lot. I really like this terminal aesthetic too. Just I think it's like a really cool excuse to use text in a way that feels, I don't know, just feels like more like part of the world in like a descriptive way. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm just rambling.
Like I also with the terminal implementation and the main screen in the game as well, all like in one space, it was making me think back to the prototypes of magical systems and playing with that space in like less a techno focus, but more like a fantasy aesthetic focus to kind of push it that direction with it.
It's like this like separate mechanical space that exists on another layer, multiple layers of glass.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah. Sweet Apple Pie Society is telling shout out to when the ending was broken, and I thought that it was some sort of meta commentary I was too tired to get. And also platonic games, like I like that. That they thought that it was like a thing, like a comment, and it was just broken.
Like you want to like you see like something that doesn't make sense, and you want to figure it out, so you fill in some meaning of your own. I guess.
I was going to say that's one of your aphorisms. Though it's always the chaos in implementation that's been your thing. Like hey, if it works for now and then it gives people the aesthetic feel off it, then yeah, that's all gravy.
Yeah, there's a big heap of things that have been floating around my head that all end up connected, like platonic games, haiku games, and the chaos of the implementation is just accepting things as they are, like a little bit busted, and trusting that looking for the connections where things are gonna be good.
And I think it's funny though that it is constantly something you do with the expression of your games, which is you're having an idea that you're finding tricky, and then 2 months later, there's now a game that exists about that thing that was 2 months ago. Like, particularly with your keys as well, like having the issue with like the lack of community and the different spaces, and then that more moving forward into the mono-present stuff as well. And then like, oh, your keys just discusses all of this perfectly mechanically.
Okay, I'm gonna end the stream.
Yeah, that's fair.
You started a lot of threads that I don't even know how to begin to get into.
Yeah, I realize at 1 minute to finishing, I shouldn't like drop huge philosophical points out of nowhere. But yeah,
I will. I'm gonna drop a link in the chat to the Burv interview that I did, because that's where we talk about when the ending was broken. There's a whole story there. So I've pasted that in chat, and if you're in chat and the stream's ending and you're like, no, I wanted the stream to go on for another hour, but for some reason I wanted to hear more, you can go watch the recording of that stream. I also hope that everyone gets to look at a flower.
Thanks everyone for watching as well. It's been fun.
Thanks
everyone, and
me on this stream also, you guys, and thanks for making some levels. I'm sorry that I couldn't get to the Sky Temple, and also I gave up on consistency, and basically we didn't get to see any of your levels, John, but I really hope that I hope that everyone here who has the game sees your levels. They're good.
Thanks to you for inviting.
All right, so I'm gonna do my usual thing where I just slowly hide things. I'll hide the game.
Ciao, gente.
Wait, it's so hard to find everything in Streamlabs. All right, the video has now gone black, and we're still here. So, thanks everyone. Oh my God, David sent a kiss command, which I am happy about.
Oh no.
Thanks for tuning in, Patrick. I'm sorry, Quasi Otter, that the game made you sad, and I hope that the kissing made up for it a little bit, maybe. Okay. All right. Final words, anyone, before I kill it?
Hasta la vista, baby.